Look, Dario, we've since had the confirmation since your last game that Amina Rakic, unfortunately suffering a fracture, so her time in Australia is now over. What does that mean for your side going forward? Does Rojas's return to the squad just get pushed up slightly now as an injury replacement?
Look, yeah. Firstly, we're disappointed for Amina. You know, she was a terrific footballer and an even better person. So she was much loved around the group, and you know, I think everyone saw her qualities. So we're very sad to lose her, but we wish her well on her recovery and heading back over to the States, and we'll stay in contact. She's a member of our squad for this season still. And then with Cote, she would be the replacement, but she's away with the Chilean national team. So we're down a player, but you know, we've got a lot of quality, and someone else will step up and take over from Amina.
Well, who does step up for your game against the Wanderers? Who are some of the options you're considering?
Well, look, we've got Caitlin Carriage, we've got Danny as well. That could probably occupy that left wing. So we've got a couple options. I'll keep them close to my chest, so I'm not giving away anything too much before the Western Sydney Wanderers game. And no, look, we've got options, and we've worked on a couple of things throughout the week. So we'll try to execute it against Western Sydney.
Because aside from Amina's unfortunate injury, how is the health and fitness of the squad ahead of what is going to be a rather hellacious period of 3 games in 6 days?
Yeah, look, it's not ideal. I think, you know, we've been dealt the worst sort of hand in terms of, you know, I think it's in terms of player welfare. I'm not sure who done the scheduling and the fixtures for this. I think, you know, to ask people to play, you know, 3 and 6, you know, I think we're the unfortunately the only squad that's been given that. Everyone else has either got 7 days or they've got 2 games in 4 days. So there's always that extra day of rest, which can make a big difference. And then, but look, it is what it is. We can't change it. It's not ideal, but you know, we're luckily enough everyone's okay. And the biggest thing is now to try look after players, because it's going to be very, very hard for the same players to play 3 games in such a short period of time. So we'll need the whole squad for this week upcoming.
Because on that, are you planning to rotate the squad so some players might not start against the Wanderers or Adelaide specifically so they can go longer in the other fixture?
Look, we'll have a plan, because you know it becomes the risk of injury, I think, as well becomes much higher. Even though our last game is a home game, we still have to travel to get back to a home game. So we arrive back, which would be a day off. We need to wake up early. We need to get to the airport. We need to fly. You know, by the time you get home, your whole day is gone, and you not only do you need to recover from a game, you need to recover from traveling. So even though it's a home game, it still feels almost like an away game because of all the traveling that's involved with that. So you know, it's going to be, we'll need everyone. So we've got a sort of a plan, but you know those things can change very, very quickly. But I think, you know, there'll be a lot of changes and a lot of people getting an opportunity in the next 3 games.
So the plan is you'll fly directly from Sydney to Adelaide?
Yeah, we'll fly Sydney to Adelaide, so we'll stay there, and then not straight after, but the day after we'll fly in, and then we don't get many opportunities to train, so it's just recovery, 1 session before the game and play, and then the same leading into the derby, which is, you know, it's a bit of a shame because that's the sort of the derby, that's the big game, you know, regardless in the men's or the women's, and it's a shame that, you know, we will be going into that very tired, very fatigued, and they're coming off, I think, a 7 or 8 days rest coming into that game. But again, it is what it is. It's the challenge we've been given, and we'll look forward to that when that day comes. But first we need to worry about Western Sydney and take care of business on Sunday, and then we'll look ahead to Adelaide and then Victory.
And just with this extended break that you've experienced, the likes of Carly Rosebach and Hannah Wilkinson, Emma Checker wasn't able to get up for the last game. Are they all able to play more extended roles during this coming road trip? Yeah,
they'll be all. They're all up for squad selection. So again, we'll see today how everyone pulls up. We've got pretty much our final proper sort of tactical session today, and then we'll go into our normal sort of match day 1 tomorrow. And we'll just see how everyone recovers, and then we'll make a decision based on, you know, how many minutes can certain people play, because it is going to be hard to ask, you know, people to back up with that sort of schedule, and obviously the risk of injury. So we need to be very cautious and look after people. So there might even end up being where people may be playing out of position, but it is what it is because we've got a limited bench with only 4 players, so it's one less. So again, we'll do what we can. Hopefully we can play smartly, maintain possession, and just look after ourselves a little bit better than maybe how we would used to.
Just last one from me, mate, for now. Just Holly McNamara, it's been around 11 months now since her ACL injury. Do you have any sort of a time frame on when I've been seeing her hanging around on the sidelines and all that, do you have any sort of time frame on when she'll return to training and then return to games? I think I saw she had a kickabout with Stoddy as well over the New Year's, so looks like she's slowly coming along.
Yeah, no, she's training, so she's involved in pretty much everything in the training. So we include her. We still need to be a little bit cautious in terms of tackling and that. So the doctors and surgeons have still said contact still needs to be a little bit limited, but she's involved, she's training, and we're just looking after her. She's looking good, and we're hopefully a month or so away from getting the green light where she can become involved as well. So we're really looking forward to welcoming her back, and terrific player, and we don't wish injury on anyone, especially on the bigger talents in the league that everyone wants to watch.
So when you say a month away from getting the green light, that's a month away from the green light for full contact or return to actual competitive football?
I think it'd be to return to competitive football. So I think once they hit that 12 months, obviously it's not that they're 12 months not doing anything. So Holly's been training now for quite a while, and she's taking part. So when we play 11v11s, she's in those sessions, she's training, she's playing. So her fitness is building, she's looking sharper, she's looking better, but it's now just getting that last part, and I imagine that'll be in the next few weeks where then she'll be allowed to, and then just building up her confidence, building everything up, and then once she's given the green light, she's basically straight in and she can play. So that's the good thing. Once the medical team say, yep, she's fine, then she's pretty much ready to play.
Awesome.
Obviously, Hannah Wilkinson made the return for the game against the Glory. Was the plan from the offset to play her for the full 90 minutes in her first game back, or did the Ekic injury actually change the way that played out?
Yeah, I think with the injury that did change sort of the plans, and then we were sort of forced, and then also with Carly, she was also sort of only allowed to play at about 20 minutes, so that changed things a little bit. But I think we controlled the game really well in the conditions. We kept possession, and Wilkie, she was also working extremely hard while she was injured. So she was fit, she recovered well. So in the end, probably we didn't want to give her 90, but we knew as well that we had a long break until this next set of games where we could let her recover, and she felt good, and she's trained really well. So she's looking forward to getting back out there this weekend.
You're top of the table on goal difference. I guess what's been the key to just being able to put it into the back of the net almost at will this season?
Oh, look, it's something we work on. We train on it. We have where we need to be in what positions, how we bring the ball to that final third. But again, the final third it's always that's the hardest part of the pitch, because teams get numbers beyond the ball. They make it difficult, and we found that especially against Perth, where they defended for large periods, and we probably weren't as clinical. But on that night it was 34, 35 degrees at 9 p.m. So it was very, very tough conditions to play in. But it's just something that we keep progressing, keep working on, and I think it's something that I've been very, very happy with, and we've probably left a lot of goals out there as well. But I can't complain too much with what we've delivered so far in the season.
I asked this last week, and it's you've got 36-degree temperatures. That's why the women's game got pushed back till after the men's game. You've got 15-minute drink break for 15 minutes in the men's game. 20-25 minutes in the women's game. At what point, and for you, I guess as well, where do you stand on the double headers, especially in the middle of summer? I know 36 degrees this year has been a little bit of a anomaly compared to the rest of it. But at what point does I'm losing all my words this morning. At what point does the return on investment of playing these double headers start to have a negative impact on the player welfare?
Look, I think if we take the heat out of the equation, I think it's excellent. Then we get the whole city family in on one day, and you can watch the women's game, you can watch the men's game, or vice versa, which it was against Perth, where the men went first. But when the conditions are that hot, it was very, very difficult for the men, and even for us arriving at the stadium around their kickoff, just walking to get to your seat, you felt the heat, you felt and that was in the shade, walking in the shade. It it was difficult to even sit in the grandstand. So it was a very, very hard night, and it takes a toll. You know, it's hard enough to play 90 minutes at intensity in perfect conditions, and then when you hit with 35 degrees and probably it was 37, 38, and in a stadium, I wouldn't be surprised if it's even warmer. And it was tough, and for us it was also very tough. I was, you know, even by about I think 10:30 p.m. when we were just on the pitch after, you still felt that heat, and even just the simplest things felt more difficult than usual. So, you know, it's the one thing. It's sort of a balance. It's awesome to have those double headers, and I think everyone really enjoys them. Where, you know, then we're all together as a family, and our fans can watch both teams, and we can support the men. The men are there to support us. I think it's fantastic. But, you know, like you said, in summer it can be very, very hard where the temperatures can soar.
Probably time for one more, guys, then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. Western United have been the real surprise packet this season. Unfortunately for you, they handed you your only loss. We've seen how they've come through the NPL system together as Calder United with that core of the lineup. I guess what's going to be the key to stopping them this season?
I think if we play exactly how we did last time, that was pretty good. So, you know, that was one of those days where, you know, that's football. I think that's the thing. Like, that was our best performance of the season, and unfortunately we walked away without getting the points that day. And I think we were probably okay. It's hard to say deserved. You know, at the end of it's a 3-1 loss. It's a 3-1 loss. But, you know, I think in terms of us, we just want to keep progressing our style, continue playing our way, and then I think if we can do that and we can execute for large periods of a game, we give ourselves an excellent chance. So we know they're a good team. We know there's also, you know, Melbourne Victory, Sydney FC, and Adelaide United that are also, you know, towards the top now, that have had good results, and so it's the league's starting to, you know, the top 5 are sort of breaking away a little bit. But again, it's just, you know, anyone we've seen, we've had tough games when we went to Canberra, Perth, you know, so everyone, you have to show respect to everyone in the league, and it's not just Western. But, you know, I think for us, our biggest concern is just us, and we focus on ourselves, and if we do that, I think then we have no fear of anyone.